And here to talk about a very provocative question is my friend, biochemist Dr. Fuzz Rana. Welcome, Fuzz.
Krista.
We're going to be talking about the question of what is happening in Scripture when it tells us in the early chapters of Genesis that people lived hundreds of years, even upwards of 900 years.
Yes.
And in your conversations with non-Christians, I'm imagining that starts bordering on almost like science fiction fantasy. So walk us through how you begin to answer this question.
Yeah, and your point is well made, is that many times people will see those long lifespans that are recorded in Genesis 5 and 11 and immediately dismiss the scientific credibility of the Genesis 1 through 11 passage. But in my view, there's some very provocative advances that are happening in the biology of aging that serve as a resource for us to respond to this challenge to the credibility of Scripture. And it's remarkable because we're now gaining some fundamental understanding as to mechanistically what contributes to the aging process. And what is remarkable is that very subtle changes in cell biochemistry can actually dramatically increase life expectancy in laboratory organisms that are used to study the aging process. And so it very well could be that if these subtle changes in laboratory organisms could increase their life expectancy, maybe that is giving us a clue as to what God did when He originally created humanity to allow us to live for hundreds of years and then to alter our biochemistry to shorten our life expectancy at the time of the flood. And what's interesting is there are a number of anti-aging pioneers that are scientists themselves who are actually working on developing biomedical interventions that could dramatically alter our life expectancy as human beings. One of them is Aubrey de Grey, who is a biogerontologist who established something called the Methuselah Foundation. He is not, by the way, a Christian. He is probably an atheist in his orientation. Another is physician Michael Fossel, who is known for what's called the telomerase revolution.
Michael Fossel, that's a very interesting name.
It is, yes. But they both are advocates of this idea that we could literally intervene biomedically to dramatically increase life expectancy of human beings on the order of hundreds of years.
And I think just adding to that, when we reflect on the larger context of Genesis 1 through 11, there's a lot of clues in the text to me that tell me it's real history. There's real people, names, real places, and everybody agrees, even liberal scholars agree, that Genesis 12 forward is history. So what makes us think like there's this switch from mythology to history midstream in Genesis? That for me is difficult. Well, this is good. When you have field tested this with non-Christians, are they open and receptive to this kind of scientific approach to this issue?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think we should underestimate just how big of a problem these long lifespans really are when we're trying to defend our faith. And to me, our goal as we're trying to show people the reasonableness of Scripture is to be able to produce plausible scenarios. And I think the work that's happening in the biology of aging, again, really is showing that if we could envision altering our life expectancy to be hundreds of years, then why would it suddenly be unreasonable for human beings to live hundreds of years at the time of creation? So at least you're engaging what seems to be a scientific critique with a scientific response that is really well grounded in advances in biomedicine and biotechnology.
So we're only trying to show plausibility.
Yes.
We're not trying to give a slam dunk of this is how it was done.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Fuzz.